Welcome to today's 5-minute Bible study in the book of Hebrews. We're still in Hebrews chapter 11, the great chapter on faith. Now today we're looking at verses 20 and 21. And in these verses, the author speaks of Isaac and Jacob and how they each gave a blessing to their children and grandchildren. So let's read Hebrews 11, verses 20 and 21. By faith, Isaac blessed Jacob and Esau in regard to their future. And by faith, Jacob, when he was dying, blessed each one of Joseph's sons and worshipped as he leaned on the top of his staff. Now, in verse 20, it talks about Isaac blessing both Jacob and Esau. This is found in the book of Genesis, chapter 27. We know the story well of the blessing. Now, we'll talk a lot of detail about the blessing and what was involved there. We remember, of course, how Jacob tricked his father Isaac into receiving the blessing he intended for Esau. But that's a study for the book of Genesis. The point the author of Hebrews is making is that Isaac gave a blessing to his sons because he saw a future for them. He knew God's promises would be fulfilled. And so his blessing was prophetic about their future. That's the important thing to remember. When we walk in the plan of God, there is a future for us. God has a plan and he will fulfill it. And this prophetic blessing that Isaac issued is in testimony to confidence in God's plan. And then also Jacob, when he was dying. Now for this, we turn to the end part of the book of Genesis, Genesis 48. Jacob at this time is now in Egypt. You remember Joseph has become prime minister. And before Jacob dies, he pronounces a blessing upon Joseph's two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. Now they would actually become the progenitors of two of the tribes of Israel. Even though they were not sons of Jacob, but grandsons, there will be a tribe named after each of them. Jacob knows this. And so he pronounces a blessing upon them. Before he dies, he blesses them in the name of God, El Shaddai, the Lord Almighty. Jacob has come to know the power of God in his life, and he sees the future for his two grandsons and pronounces a blessing upon them. And what's interesting is that when he gives the blessing, he puts his right hand on the eldest son. That is not the culture of the day. The chief blessing normally goes to the younger son. But this is a biblical pattern. We saw Jacob was not the elder son, Esau was, but the blessing went to him of being the one through whom the line would continue. And so Jacob sees this same thing in Manasseh and Ephraim, and he pronounces the blessings that way. But again, he is seen in regard to their future. He knows that God will be with them. And so the blessing is a prophetic act. So in these acts of faith of giving the blessing, both by Isaac and Jacob, they see that God is at work in their life. He will be at work in the life of their children. He'll be at work in the life of their grandchildren. God's promises will be fulfilled through the family line. God has said, through the line of Abraham will come his people. Through the line of Abraham will one day come the seed who will redeem all. That is Jesus. And so in seeing God's plans in the future, Isaac and Jacob pronouncing their blessing, they are certain that God will fulfill his promises to his people. That's what blessing is all about. You know, we don't bless in our own strength. We bless in the name of the Lord because we know that God's word is certain. We are confident that he will fulfill his promises. And so blessings can be pronounced. So it was with Isaac. So it is also with Jacob. Hope you join us tomorrow as we continue our 5-minute Bible study in the book of Hebrews.